McGowan here from Practically Free Porsche, and I thought I'd do a few videos. Well, I'm sitting here on a lovely day by the lochside in my 993, so I thought I'd do 2 or 3 videos and talk to you and hopefully give you some value. Today I thought I'd speak to you a bit about the Porsche 993 values and depreciation. In my experience, I thought I'd give you my take on it. A lot of people are interested in the possible depreciation of Porsches and the value of them and that kind of thing. When I was looking for a 993 back in 2012, I can tell you just now that Porsche 993 values were a little bit different from what they are. In fact, Porsche values across the board were very different back then. I was driving a 987 Boxster S at the time, which was worth about maybe £13,000, and 993s were a bit of a step up at the time. You'd expect to pay about £20,000 for this car at the time, with about 100,000 miles, a C2 manual, in good condition, and obviously this is UK prices, and although there was regional variances, more or less across the UK, they were about the same kind of price range. So you can expect to pay about 18 to 20k for a 993 C2 manual at a time, with kind of average to high-ish miles, if you want to call 100,000 miles high. I always say, guys, you should never ever buy a Porsche on mileage. You always buy it on condition and history, not the miles. So a high miles Porsche, especially with an older 993, there's nothing to worry about as long as it's been taken care of. So the prices back then, again, about 20k. Now, typically an automatic or Tiptronic variation of this would go for about maybe £3,000 less. Same with the Targas or the convertibles. They would usually go for a little bit less than a C2 manual, for example. A C2S was about £30,000 back in 2012, because I remember looking at them, maybe £35,000. Turbos, 993 turbos, were about 65, 70. Hindsight, if only we'd have known, we'd have bought a couple of those, because they've kind of shot up in value, obviously. And like the RS, you know, I think it was about 90 or 100, you know, I wasn't really considering RSs at the time. And the GT2 was just off the scale, so, you know, it wasn't a contender. I wanted a C2 manual in this car, and a lot of people, a lot of enthusiasts and a lot of purists, if you like, for want of a better word, they usually want a C2 manual in this particular car. So what happened after 2012 was, I bought this car, and a couple of years after that, all Porsches, in fact all cars, more classic cars as well, kind of shot up in value. There's a lot of reasons for this, which I won't really go into in this video, but let's just say that at the time, about 2013, 2014, the classic car market and the Porsche market, the air-cooled market, all went upward, and cars appreciated by sometimes, you know, half the value, sometimes more than that. To go back in time again, sorry to jump around, but to go back to 2012, 964s were going for about 15,000, 16,000, and they had been that price bracket for what seemed like years. The 3.2, then 11 3.2 Targas, and you know, and convertibles, the G series cars, they were doing about £12,000 at the time. Again, they've shot up in value. The interesting thing about the 993, I think, is that while all other 911s historically bottomed out quite low in depreciation curve. I mean, the 964, like I say, was about 15, 16 grand. The 3.2, again, 10, 12 grand. The 996 went down to about 12, 14 grand. They all kind of went down to about 12, 13, 14, apart from the 993. The 993 didn't go down that low. At its lowest, it was about 18-ish, you know. So that kind of says something. It's been the last of the air-cooled models. I think it's always going to have a place in the hearts of enthusiasts, and historically as well. I mean, it's got a lot to love about it. You know, I've had this car for 8 years, and I could talk all day about its merits. Believe me, I love this car, and I don't ever see me parting with it. But we're talking about values. So back to 2012, 2014, let's say, the car market kind of went a bit crazy. But then after that, a couple of years after that, it kind of retracted back in, and it lost about 15 to 20% across the board in car values. So this car went up to about £45,000 worth in value approximately, and then it kind of went back down to about 40-ish, you know, give or take. So it maybe lost a percentage in value, and most cars did. And it's kind of stayed round about there since about 2014. In fact, if I'm honest, The 993 in particular has probably lost a couple of grand since then, possibly in value. I would expect this car today to be worth about 38ish, maybe 40, you know, possibly. The turbos, obviously, they've kind of rocketed in value, and the C2S as well, you know, they've all more than doubled in value since back in 2012. So they've really kind of shot up. But you know, we talk about values a lot and we talk about depreciation, guys. Really, it's academic. I mean, if you can afford to buy this car, for example, and you've got 40k to spend, when I say spend, you're not really spending it, because if you buy this car for £40,000, drive for 2 years or three years, whatever, and get your money back come resale, you've not really spent that money, have you? I mean, let's be honest, you're kind of putting the money somewhere. It's almost like money in the bank in a way. That's why I call these cars practically free cars, because ownership can be practically free, with the exception of ordinary running costs, which you get with most cars. But the truth is, guys, these cars are not most cars. These cars are special. And if you are fortunate enough to be able to be in a position to buy one, I can highly recommend that you do, because it will change your life for the better. As long as you buy the right car at the right price, you will not look back. And although it's 40k, it might seem expensive, trust me, on a day like today, driving down here, you know, it feels magical. It feels like you're in some kind of movie. I know that sounds a bit strange, but that's a bit what it feels like sometimes. And it's a bit surreal at times. For 40k, you know, because you can't put a price on that. You can't put a price on your life experience. I would highly recommend you buy yourself any Porsche that you really love, but in particular the 993 is truly, truly special. Again, today you get a good one for about 40k. Buy one, run it for a few years, and chances are you won't want to part with it like me. But if you do want to part with it, you'll get most, if not all, your money back come resale. Who knows what the future holds? Will these cars appreciate in value, or will they go up? Possibly, who knows? No one knows that for sure. But what I can say with some kind of certainty is, like, I really don't expect them to head down the way. I think your money's going to be safe in any one of these cars. So don't worry about spending the money. And again, what's the worst that can happen? You buy one, you don't like it, you sell it again. At least you've tried it. So I hope that's given you some kind of insight and some kind of feeling towards how I feel about values of the Porsche 993. If you liked the video, give us a wee thumbs up and subscribe for more content. And come and say hello in my Practically Free Porsche Facebook group. And say hello there, and we can talk about Porsches and give you some pointers and anything you want to know. Right guys, nice chatting to you. Until the next time, see you later.